Hey, it's Kesha. Welcome and welcome back. We're on our next reading in the Aquarian, chapters 117, 118. I've been remiss in our last couple of readings where I haven't stopped to center. So let's take a moment now and do that. So just gently close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and out. Another deep breath in and out. Begin to collect your thoughts. Anything from the past week that's still rolling around, anything you're thinking about for the upcoming week. Just collect all of those thoughts and just begin to gather them up and send them into a balloon that's just above your head. Feeling your mind and body still. When you've collected all of those thoughts, gently blow the balloon and let the ethers take it forth. Trusting it'll be handled and returned back to source. Now begin to focus your attention inward. And gently call all parts of your power, all parts of yourself back. Know that as those parts are coming back to you, they're cleansed through the ethers. Feeling yourself fuller and made whole with each breath as all of your power returns to you. And if you feel like you're attached to something or a person or a situation, just gently release that attachment. Let it go back to source. And if you feel like anything is corded to you or attached to you, feel it releasing now and returning back to source. You are now present, powerful, and free. And now see a gentle column of white light coming down over you. Breathe in that light. Feel it quickening the cells, quickening out your body, quickening the breath. You're becoming lighter and more effervescent. Remember your true nature of spirit. Now gently lift up in that column. Lift up higher and higher. Out of our worldly way, out of our physical existence. And come to a place of peace, of oneness, of love, and light. It's in this space that we'll begin our reading. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. Oh, we're in context. We've got to mean readers. Chapter 117. A royal feast was held in honor of the birthday of the Tetrarch in fortified Machaerus, east of the Bitter Sea. The Tetrarch, Herod, and his wife Herodias, together with Salome, were there, and all the men and women of the royal court were there. And when the feast was done, lo, and all the guests and courtiers were drunk with wine, they danced and leaped about like children in their play. Salome, daughter of Herodias, came in and danced before the king. The beauty of her form, her grace, her winning ways entranced the silly Herod, for half drunk with wine, then half drunk with wine. He called the maiden to his side and said, Salome, you have won my heart. You may ask, and I will give you anything you wish. The maiden ran in childish glee and told her mother what the ruler said. Her mother said, go back and say, give me the head of John, the harbinger. The maiden ran and told the ruler what she wished. And Herod called his trusty executioner and said to him, go to the tower and tell the keeper that by my authority you come to execute the prisoner known as John. The man went forth and in a little while returned, and on a platter bore the lifeless head of John. And Herod offered it to the maiden in the presence of the guests. The maiden stood aloof. Her innocence was outraged when she saw the bloody gift and would touch it not. Her mother, steeped and hardened well in crime, came up and took the head and held it up before the guests and said, this is the fate of every man who dares to scorn or criticize the acts of him who reigns. The drunken rabble gazed upon the gruesome sights with fiendish joy. The head was taken back into the tower. The body had been given unto holy men who had been friends of John. They placed it in a burial case and carried it away. They bore it to the Jordan, and when they crossed it, just at the ford where John first preached the word. And through the passes of Judean hills they carried it. They reached the sacred grounds near Hebron, where the bodies of the parents of the harbinger lay in their tombs. And there they buried it, and they went their way. Now, when the news reached Galilee that John was dead, the people met to sing the sonnets of the dead. And Jesus and the foreign masters and the 12 took ship across the Sea of Galilee. A scribe, a faithful friend of John, stood by the sea. He called to Jesus and he said, Rabboni, let me follow you where you go. And Jesus said, you seek a safe retreat from evil men. There is no safety for your life with me. For evil men will take my life as they have taken John's. The foxes of the earth have their safe retreats. The birds have their nests secure among the hidden rocks. But I have not a place where I may lay my head and rest secure. Then an apostle said, Lord, suffer me to tarry here a while, that I may take my father who is dead and lay him in the tomb. But Jesus said, the dead can care for those who die. The living wait for those who live. Come and follow me. The evening came, three boars put out to sea, and Jesus rested on the foremost. The evening came, 3 boats put out to sea, and Jesus rested in the foremost boat. He slept. A storm came up, and the boats were tossed about like toys upon the sea. The water swept the decks. The hardy boatmen were afraid lest all be lost. And Thomas found the master fast asleep. He called, and Jesus woke. And Thomas said, behold the storm! Have you no care for us? The boats are going down. And Jesus stood. He raised his hand. He talked into the spirits of the winds and waves as men would talk with men. And lo, the winds blew not. The waves came tremblingly and kissed his feet. The sea was calm. And then he said, you men of faith, where is your faith? For you can speak, and winds and waves will hear and obey. And the disciples were amazed. They said, who is this man that even winds and waves obey his voice? The morning came, and the Christians landed in their country of the Gerasenes. They went to Gadara, chief city of the Petrarchus. Okay. Paracans. Okay. It's weird to read with readers. They went to Gadara, chief city among the Paracans. And here for certain days they tarried and they taught. Now, legend holds that Gadara is sacred to the dead, and all the hills about are known as holy ground. These are the burial grounds of the regions round about, and the hills are full of tombs, and many dead from Galilee are here entombed. Now, spirits of the lately dead that cannot rise to higher planes remain about the tombs that hold the flesh and bones of what were once their mortal homes. They sometimes take possession of a living whom they torture in 100 ways. And all through Gadara there were men obsessed, and there was no one strong enough to bring relief, that they might meet these hidden foes and learn the way to dispossess the evil ones. That they might meet these hidden foes and learn the way to dispossess the evil ones. The master took the foreign masters and the 12 into the tombs. And as they neared the gates, they met a man obsessed. A legion of unclean ones were in this man, and they had made him strong. And none could bind him down, no, not with chains, for he could break the stoutest chains and go his way. Now, unclean spirits cannot live in light. They revel in the dark. When Jesus came, he brought the light of life, and all the evil spirits were disturbed. The leader of the legion and the man called out, "Thou Jesus, thou Emmanuel, we beg that thou wilt not cast us into the depths. Torment us not before our time." And Jesus said, "What is your number and your name?" The evil spirit said, "Our name is Legion, and our number is the number of the beast." And Jesus spoke, and with a voice that shook the very hills, he said, "Come forth, possess this man no more." Now all the hills were filled with unclean animals that fed and carried forth and spread the plague among the people of the land. And when the evil spirits begged that they might not be driven forth without a home, the master said, "Go forth and take possession of the unclean quadrupeds." And all the evil spirits of the tombs went forth and took possession of the breeders of the plague, which, wild with rage, ran down the steeps into the sea, and all were drowned. And all the land was freed of the contagion, and the unclean spirits came no more. And when the people saw the mighty works that Jesus did, they were alarmed. They said, if he can free the country of the plague and drive the unclean spirits out, he is a man of such transcendent power that he can devastate our land at will. And then they came and prayed that he would not remain in Gadara. And Jesus did not long tarry there. And with the other masters and the 12, he went aboard the boats to go away. The man who had been rescued from the unclean legion stood upon the shore and said, "Lord, let me go with you." And Jesus said, "It is not well. Go forth unto your house and tell the news that men may know what man can do when he is tuned with God." And then the man went forth through all Decapolis and told the news. The Christians sailed away and recrossed the sea and came again into Capernaum. So, going back to the beginning of 117, we have innocence being used and perverted to commit a crime, and that is the murder and execution of John. I don't know, it would seem to say it right there, you know, it's youth that goes about that doesn't know what it does that ends the quiet whisperings of wisdom that have come before to give it life. Yeah, I'm always struck by that passage, and it always seems so sad and such a shame. Yeah, you know, the innocence that asks for something, doesn't know what to ask for, gets it, and doesn't know what to do with it. The learned who know and manipulate the situation to their own ends, to either take or solidify their power, and the truth and the true innocence lost, and in wisdom decapitated. And I do. This is also the section where the young man who's been described with John thinks that he'll be safe if he goes with Jesus, and Jesus tells him no. There isn't a place where being with me will be safe for you. The dead can bury the dead. The live must live for the living. And then in Gadara, we have the miracle performed of healing the people of the unclean spirits and putting those spirits into the plagued livestock. And they drive themselves over a cliff, and the people of Gadara are a little scared by the kind of power that would create that situation, and so they ask Jesus to leave, and he does. I think that's probably the most mature interaction with power we see is greater than ourselves and that's beyond us, to simply ask it to leave rather than try to fight and belittle. So kudos to the people of Gadara. They'd been through much and they handled that well. More is coming. Our story is picking up pace. So I will see you soon and love you in the meantime. Take care. Bye.